Alright, welcome back to the GSL. Today we've got Group E of the up and down matches. We're about 6 out of 15 games in here. I am Wolf, with me is Kaldor, my bald-headed co-caster. It's like love making fun of how you don't have hair. I know you don't actually care. I mean, you're the one who makes it that way. You could have hair if you wanted to, but you just choose not to.
The only problem that I have is in the wintertime.
Yeah.
It's really, really scary when I actually shave my head. It is so much colder. Even that much makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's unbelievable. The first time that I did it, I went outside and was like, whoa.
I've never shaved my head before, but I've had a hat on in the cold and then taken the hat off and noticed that it was much colder. I'm sure with you it's a similar effect.
The hat comparison.
Well, we saw the scores for just a brief second there. They'll probably come back in a second. The scores were a little bit shy, but here they come. Come out, scores. It's all right. We're not going to hurt you.
No, we're not. We're just talking a little bit about you. Well, we probably have the results in regards to the current situation, the standings in the group as well. But as you can see, the Zerg players today are not doing too bad. Yu-Gi-Oh! And July are both 2-0.
Yeah.
And I once again have to say how smart the decision by July was in the last game against Lovesick to go just for Zerglings. Usually you just panic and you're like, oh my god, I'm behind, I have to get some drones. But July, having played those early pools so often as well, he was able to take down Lovesick without a problem. And that leaves Lovesick with 0 wins and 2 losses. It's the same position as Slayer's Clide. They are in a really tough spot, while Yu-Gi-Oh! And StarTale July are now basically one game from being in Code S.
Yeah. Well, they're one game away from being in that critical position where they're kind of bossing the other players around. The other players are like, well, the only way to get into Code S is if certain things happen, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! And July, if they win one more game, they know that everything is going to be in their hands. You know, if you ever get 3 wins in this group stage, you know that your fate is in your hands, whereas your opponents are kind of like, well, he has to lose this game, and then like the players have to figure it out while we're figuring it out. Clide versus JYP here. 2 former teammates, no longer on the same team, as Clide has gone to Slayers and JYP actually has left TSL as well. So 2 former TSL teammates battling it out against each other. Obviously friends, they're really friendly with each other. Playing on Calm Before the Storm, so we'll probably see a macro-oriented game from both these players.
Clyde really has to win the next match if he wants to have a chance to advance to Code S. If he loses, he will be down 3 games, and then he is, well, kind of stuck in Code A.
Yeah, very true. We'll see JYP, a very strong player, 1-1 right now.
And lost to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, this is a very important game for Clyde. He's got to win this one if he wants to stay in this.
At the bottom left of Calm Before the Storm, we have our Terran player with 2 losses so far. He needs a winner now. He is
Slayers Clide.
His opponent is not in as bad a situation as the Terran player from Slayers. He has 1 win already. At the top left, the Protoss player in the blue colors is
JYP.
Looking smart. And guys, once again, we want to talk about the yearly Premium and Premium Plus tickets. GOMTV added a lot of new options to the ticket system. You can check it out at gomtv.net/ticket. Just make sure that you have a short glimpse of there. There are a lot of different passes that you can get. You can get really yearly subscriptions as well. There's a lot of StarCraft 2 coming up at the GSL next year.
Oh, missed micro by Clide, and also his barracks was significantly delayed.
Yeah, and if you get a pass, that's one of the things that you will be able to see. Killer probes from JYP. So, yeah, check that out, gomtv.net/ticket.
Yep. Also, remember, guys, to get on Twitter, get on AIM if you guys still use that archaic program. Get on MSN Messenger, okay? Get on ICQ, get on your IRC chat, get on Facebook.com, get on MySpace, get on that website, okay? That don't get on Orchid. Nobody uses that. Nobody's going to find out about the GSL if you use Orchid. But
or what?
All the Orchid. I don't know. It's an older social network. I think Google owns it now. But anyway, it was not very successful. Don't use Google Wave or Google Buzz or any of that stuff. You can use Google Plus though. Okay, get on there and tell all your friends to go to twitch.tv/GOMTV right now to watch this final free stream in high quality. Oh, I really like this. He mined just a little bit of gas and is actually going to go for the command center now. So his opponent is not really sure if he's continuing to mine the gas or not. Either way, it looks like JYP is going to go for a 1-gate expand.
Getting the mine games going. Clide is really good at that, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He did the same
against Hero.
Yeah, just against Hero, blocking him off and taking the gas. Really loves to do that.
I'll have to say that I'm of the opinion that the position that Clide has in this group right now doesn't really resemble his skill level at all. He's now even blocking his opponents expand with an engineering bay. And I just casted some games of Goody lately, a European Terran player who designed his builds in order to block his opponent's position. He's actually going for the engineering bay sometimes even before he throws down his barracks to delay that expansion. And that has been more common against the Protoss lately. Usually, well, originally Terran players used this against Zerg, but now it's been really common against Protoss as well.
Yeah, this is really cool. I like this because on a particular map like this, it's just so smart. But look at this, JYP taking his natural instead. This pressure not going to be very effective. Did scout, though, that there are 3 Marines and no add-on on the barracks. But since he saw gas earlier, he's got to wonder what's going on. There may be a factory back there. He's not really sure.
JYP is getting that second gateway right away. He's not panicking, and we have Clide now. With the first reactor, he already has his base. He's now just upgrading it to the orbital. The Nexus is a little bit delayed for JYP.
Yeah, well, he also, when he killed the engineering bay, he sent a probe down to attack it with his Stalker. So Clide is probably still under the assumption that that Nexus has not started yet, and he's doing it at the back door. But JYP's Nexus is about 80% done now at his natural.
They're trying the mind games just a tiny little bit, but in the end we end up with both players expanding early in the game, and that's the common strategy on Calm Before the Storm. That map has that name for a reason. In the early stages, usually you will rely a little bit more on your economy and just try to get that huge army that can win you the battle.
Very true. Ooh, JYP with a misrally on his probes. 4 of them not mining right now. Does notice very quickly, though. Now, the robotics facility is done. He's going to make an observer immediately to scout what Clide is up to. He's very in the dark right now. Doesn't know if there's a command center there. Doesn't know if there's a factory. It's very tough for him to tell. Speaking of factories, the factory is started for Clide. He's got Stim on the way. No combat shields just yet, though.
He's getting a decent Marine Marauder force already. One bunker just to be on the safe side. And, well, in regards to the Harvest account, both of them are obviously now using the possibilities of their race. The Chrono Boost for JYP and Clide with the Mules. 34 to 30 Harvesters.
Well, I'm kind of curious to see what JYP is going to do. He's got that front Nexus, okay? So that's a much more difficult Nexus to defend. But at any moment, he may just decide to take his back Nexus and he can almost get it for free, because if he takes it, Clyde's not going to be able to attack that very easily. Yeah, he's getting his reactor right now to make reactor medevacs, but it's tough to say.
We have a forward pylon. Actually, we have 2 forward pylons for JYP now. So he's apparently trying to get a little bit more aggressive, adding 1 forge now. Not the double forge that we've seen so often. He's relying on the 1 forge only, while JYP is going to get a starport.
I find this really aggressive forward pylon at Clyde's natural a little bit weird, considering that he only has 3 gateways. It's not like he's going for a 6-gate time. He doesn't even have the 4 gateways. 4 gateways, I think, is the minimum needed to do a really strong pressure against a Terran player. So he may just be using that pylon for scouting or for counterattacks if Clide decides to move out. But it is not going to be very useful very early on, so it's not something that Clide would necessarily panic about right now.
He's moving out with his army now, though. He's trying to get closer to his opponent's front door and warping in Zealots after scouting with the Observer.
This is really interesting. Also, I wanted to note that Clide had part of his army down at the... Ooh, he's going to try to pick off some of these depots. I really like this. The Stalkers, of course, outrange the Marines. I like that Clide had some of his units to stop Warp Prism harass. This is a really interesting thing that a lot of pros have been doing recently with sentries and an observer, but he has to be very careful of how he does this.
And he has to be very careful with his observer as well, because Clide is obviously aware that there has to be one, and that's exactly what he does. What he decides to do, he scans, takes down the observer, and that will shut down the aggression of JYP.
A lot of different things JYP could have done there. He could have forced some of those units, trapped them. He could have set up a really nice concave at the bottom of the ramp and contained his opponent, but he knows Medivacs are out. It's smart for him to turn around here. Does lose his pylon that actually supply blocks him quite significantly.
92 against 84 supply in total now. And the Scout Factory. I really think it's ridiculous that people use buildings to scout. That's just so hilarious. That factory driver must be like, yeah, I'm just chilling. Scouting everything. I don't have anything to do right now. They don't want me to build tanks.
I wish this was a TVZ or a TVT, so I would be important.
He feels neglected. And I understand that. First Immortals are being built. Blink halfway done. Stim used by Clide, trying to dodge the force fields and doing a really good job at that.
Yeah, really good dodges on the force fields and good force fields as well from JYP. JYP actually with no defense for drops now. The drops are empty. Clide turning around and JYP putting his Stalkers in his main. He does have Blink, so he can blink around to defend drops much more easily this way.
Yeah, JYP realized immediately that that army had to move somewhere, so positioning a bunch of Stalkers in the back doesn't hurt him at all, but will shut down the drop attempts of Clide.
Oh, the Stalker's out of position though.
But he's moving in there, he's taking down one of the medivacs. There were a bunch of units in there, but that's way too many units for JYP to deal with now, and Clide is just targeting down that third base. Is he going to retreat? He can actually fight.
Yeah, he can fight for quite some time until the Zealots get here.
Even with the Zealots, he has a very nice position behind the mineral patches. Yeah. The Zealots can't really attack him, and he's taking down a huge amount of Stalkers and sentries.
Yeah, really good trade here, targeting down the sentries, as you were saying, gets the last sentry there. And Clide, despite being down on supply now, is at 3 base against 2. He's got a turret going up at his natural. May want to make a bunker. He's spotted the forward pylon of JYP, so he's going to take that out now.
They roughly lost the same amount of resources, but with the third base up and running, Clide isn't definitely in a better position. JYP lost a lot of units and tech units at that. He did not only lose the sentries, but also a huge amount of Stalkers. In regards to the Harvesters, we only have 2 and 3 Harvesters killed by each player. So neither one of them had to deal with huge losses in regards to his economy.
Right now, the upgrades are really good for JYP. They're both at 1-1, but JYP is about to have +2 ground armor. His +1 actually is about to finish. I thought it was +2, but yeah, like you were mentioning earlier, he's only got the 1 forge.
Oh, he's initially. 2 now.
Yeah, so it's about to be 2-2 on the way. Well,
his upgrades are a little bit later than usual, but still with a second forge that he built after a while, he's now in the position that he can research double upgrades and chrono boost them at that. 2-2 coming up for Clide now.
You know, something that happens with a lot of Terrans when they commit to that drop play is they lose a lot of units. We'll see. I don't think Clide should try to drop the third base again. If he messes it up, he'll lose a lot more. And admittedly, JYP's drop defense was terrible. He had way more than enough Stalkers to deter that drop. He just was not paying attention and allowed all the units to drop out, then lost a few Stalkers. A stim here by Clide. I don't think this is the best place to engage, losing several Marines.
Using the force fields again. Is he going to drop in the back? This time we have even Colossi to defend, and with the Colossi in the picture, that's a different story. I don't think he should try to drop again. Yes.
Yeah, he scans. He's like, no way, Jose.
Playing it safe. So he should.
JYP now being very good with his defense. He's got only Zealots, Sentries, and an Immortal at the front. If another attack tried to run by, he would be perfectly safe against that.
Harvester count is roughly even, and the Medivacs are en route once more.
Yeah, he dropped him out, killed an Observer, and picked back up again. So JYP knows they're out there somewhere.
But he doesn't know where exactly. Oh, he's retreating with the Stalkers. Oh, he's retreating with all his Stalkers, and the cannon is up. Will it be enough to deal with that drop play? I doubt it, to be honest.
Well, he is setting up a flank to catch the drops. This is really interesting, Kaldor. But I think there may be too many units in these drops. He's got to turn around now. One drop does get targeted down. but I think if Clide wants to, he can get the Nexus. He's going for it.
Indeed he does, and that Nexus will die. The Nexus is about to be killed again. And wow, those drops of
going for
Clide
Colossi.
are something.
Almost gets a Colossus.
Retreating, and not a single... Wow, he's able to escape with all 3 medivacs?
Indeed, killing the Nexus, and JYP so far behind now. As far as army count goes, they're fairly even. JYP is slightly behind, but his economy is so hurt right now.
Still getting the +3 armor upgrade and adding a Templar Archive on 2 bases. That's tough on his economy. And we have his opponent already. We have Clide with the first 2 Vikings. He has 22 Marauders and is adding now Ghost. 3 of them are already in the army, getting another 2. And
yeah,
3 upgrades being researched as well.
He's got such a strong composition. He's caught up in upgrades, as you mentioned. 4 Vikings being made at a time. He's got a catch-all unit composition coming out here, and JYP needs to get a 4th base, but Clide's ahead in supply, and he's got a nice little timing to attack his opponent right here. It's going to be pretty scary, I have to say.
I'm a little surprised that Clide doesn't build another command center. Would expect him to get another orbital and then just lift it towards one of the expansion positions, but so far it looks like he wants to be really aggressive on his 3 bases now.
Looks like he is moving an SCV into position just now. He was able to destroy those rocks. He's got a really scary army, and JYP's a little bit stuck in his base, but JYP has a really strong composition. He decided to go for +1 shields rather than +3 attack to help his Archons out. I really like that. The Archon's going to be pretty key for him here. The Ghosts in the front ready to EMP, but some Zealots coming out to bait them a little bit. Whoa, the Sentries in one group. That was pretty scary. Guardian shields up. Here we go.
News. Force field is going down as well, and at the same time, all those Vikings target down the Colossus. They are retreating. 2 of them are already dead. The 3rd one dying. JYP is losing ground to Clide. 180 supply against 111. Clide is just killing everything in his path, and the Colossus are gone.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the end of the game, Caldor. JYP has no answer. GG. Clyde's back in it.
Clide with his first win in today's up and downs. JYP losing his 3rd match. He's down 2 games now. 1 engagement. He's disappointed.
Losing his Nexus twice is pretty tough. I mean, if you lose your Nexus once in a PvT, it's like, alright, I traded okay, I got all of his units. And in that case, the first trade, he was actually ahead in army afterwards. Could have pressured a little bit, decided not to, just remade his Nexus. From there, I think he should have been a little bit more careful. The first drop, he actually should have defended. He had like 8 to 12 Stalkers sitting there ready. If he just reacted and blinked forward, he would have killed a drop or 2 and forced Clide away, would have kept his Nexus. Just a little bit slow on the reaction time. And then the second time, he just did not react correctly. He sent his army around to try to flank. He thought maybe the 1 cannon and like, what was it, 2 or 3 Stalkers was going to deter Clide, then he would trap the drops, but it did not work.
There are a lot of Terran players who would have retreated after they saw the cannon, and I think there were 2 or 3
yeah,
Stalkers.
2 or 3 Stalkers.
But he said, okay, well, even if you kill one of my medivacs, I will be able to drop 2 or 3 units before you are able to shoot it down. And he just went for it, and it worked out so well because, as you mentioned, the army was on the right side of the map. He tried to flank him, tried to wait for him to retreat with the medivacs in order to shoot them down. And he ended up losing his Nexus again. Yeah, and to be honest, if he was going to do that, he could have kept his ground army at home and sent just a small group of Stalkers, maybe 8 to 10. He did have Blink. They're very mobile to try to flank and catch the drop, but then defend with his main of the strong army. Instead, he kind of 1-8 his entire army over there. Just a little bit of multitasking failure out of JYP there. JYP, not known for his macro and multitasking, much more known for his micro. We have another ZVZ coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just asking for a second. I'm not sure. He needs to set something up, but he's going to encounter July.
Yeah, it looks like they're both ready now. It's going to be our second ZVZ. We'll see if Yu-Gi-Oh! Can deal with July, and July is so scary. You never know when he's going to turn on you.
July wants to... It's actually the match between both players who have been able to decide every game in their favor so far. Neither one of them has a loss in this group. And one of them is bound to lose the next game.
It's very true. Only one will win this next game. Who will it be? I'm joined by Caldor. I am Wolf. This is the GSL Up and Down matches.